Have you ever felt like your energy is fading faster than it used to? Or that the house feels quieter now that the kids have grown up and moved out? If you've ever wondered how to make the most of living alone as you get older, you're not alone. Many people find themselves in this situation, whether by choice or circumstance. And while it can be challenging at times, it's also an opportunity to rediscover what makes life fulfilling on your own terms. You know, I recently spoke with a woman named Margaret who had been living alone for years after her husband passed away. She told me she initially struggled with loneliness and even doubted if she could handle things on her own. But over time, she found ways to stay active, connected, and genuinely happy. Her story inspired me because it reminded me that no matter where we are in life, there's always room to grow, adapt, and thrive. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today: how to live well when you're aging alone. Now, before we dive in, let me share something fascinating. Did you know that studies suggest staying socially engaged and maintaining a sense of purpose can actually help slow down cognitive decline? Researchers from Harvard University found that individuals who regularly interacted with others and participated in meaningful activities were less likely to experience memory problems later in life. It's proof that small changes in our daily routines can have a big impact, not just physically but mentally too. And here's the best part: these changes don't require drastic lifestyle overhauls. They're simple habits anyone can start incorporating into their day. In today's video, we're going to explore some practical tips for living alone in your golden years. We'll cover everything from staying physically active to nurturing emotional well-being. And trust me, the last tip might just change the way you think about aging forever. But first, a quick note. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. With that said, let's jump right in. Let's start with one of the most important habits that can completely transform how you feel every single day: staying physically active. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I'm too old to start exercising now. But hear me out. Studies show that even light physical activity can make a world of difference. For example, research published in the Journal of Gerontology suggests that walking just 20 minutes a day can improve cardiovascular health and reduce the risk of falls by strengthening muscles and improving balance. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Just moving more can help keep your body strong and agile. And here's the thing: physical activity isn't just good for your body, it's great for your mind too. When you move, your brain releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that boost your mood and reduce stress. I remember reading about a study from the University of California, San Diego, which showed that seniors who stayed active reported feeling happier and more confident compared to those who led sedentary lifestyles. So whether it's taking a stroll around the neighborhood, doing chair yoga, or dancing to your favorite tunes, finding ways to move each day can set the tone for a healthier, more joyful life. But staying active doesn't stop at exercise. It's also about keeping your mind sharp. Have you ever noticed how crossword puzzles or Sudoku seem to pop up everywhere in magazines aimed at older adults? There's a reason for that. Engaging in mentally stimulating activities has been linked to better brain function as we age. A study from Rush University Medical Center found that people who regularly challenged their brains through games, reading, or learning new skills had a lower risk of developing dementia. One gentleman I met, George, decided to take up painting in his late 60s. He said it wasn't just fun, it gave him a renewed sense of purpose and kept his mind sharp. Isn't that incredible? The key takeaway here is that staying active, both physically and mentally, isn't just about preventing illness. It's about enhancing your quality of life. Whether it's picking up a hobby, joining a local walking group, or simply spending a few minutes stretching each morning, these small steps add up. They remind us that we're still capable of growth and discovery, regardless of our age. Now that we've covered these essential habits, let's move on to something equally important: how small daily changes can add years to your life. Because staying active and sharp is just the beginning. What about the moments when you're not feeling motivated? Or when you're wondering if all this effort really matters? Don't worry, we'll tackle those questions next. Stay tuned, because the answers might surprise you. You know, one of the things I hear often from people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond is this idea that they're too old to start something new. Maybe it's exercising, trying a new hobby, or even making changes to their diet. But let me tell you something, science says otherwise. In fact, studies show that our bodies and minds are capable of adapting and improving at any age. Take strength training, for example. You might think lifting weights or doing resistance exercises is only for younger folks. But research from the National Institute on Aging suggests that even light strength training can improve balance and reduce fall risks by up to 40%. That's huge. And it's not just about preventing falls, it's about feeling stronger, more confident, and more independent. I once met a woman named Carol who started strength training at 75. She was hesitant at first, worried she'd hurt herself or look out of place at the gym. But after just a few weeks of using resistance bands and light dumbbells at home, she noticed a difference. Her knees felt steadier, her posture improved, and she could carry groceries without feeling winded. She told me, "I didn't realize how much I'd been holding back because of fear. Now I feel like I've reclaimed a part of myself." Isn't that inspiring? It's proof that it's never too late to invest in your body and your confidence. Now let's talk about something else that plays a massive role in aging well: nutrition. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to have boundless energy well into their later years, their diet might be the secret. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that eating a Mediterranean-style diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and healthy fats like olive oil, can lower the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease and diabetes. Plus, it may even protect against cognitive decline. One study found that seniors who followed this type of diet had a 30% lower risk of developing dementia compared to those who didn't. But here's the thing, you don't have to overhaul your entire kitchen overnight. Small swaps can make a big difference. For instance, try swapping white bread for whole grain, adding more leafy greens to your meals, or snacking on almonds instead of chips. These little changes add up over time. I remember talking to a man named Jim who decided to switch from soda to sparkling water with lemon. At first, he thought it wouldn't matter much, but within weeks, he noticed he had more energy and his digestion improved. He said, "It's amazing how something so simple can make such a difference." Of course, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if I don't like cooking? Or maybe you're living alone and find it hard to motivate yourself to prepare meals just for one person. Trust me, I get it. Cooking for one can feel like a chore, but there are ways to make it easier and more enjoyable. Batch cooking is a game changer. Spend a couple of hours on the weekend preparing soups, stews, or casseroles that you can portion out and freeze. That way, you always have a healthy meal ready to go. Another tip: keep your pantry stocked with essentials like canned beans, frozen vegetables, and whole grain pasta. These staples can turn into a nutritious meal in minutes. And while we're on the topic of food, let's not forget hydration. Did you know that dehydration is one of the most common issues among older adults? As we age, our sense of thirst diminishes, which means we might not realize we're not drinking enough water. Staying hydrated isn't just important for your physical health. It also affects your mood and mental clarity. A study from the University of Connecticut found that even mild dehydration can lead to fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. So keep a water bottle handy and sip throughout the day. If plain water feels boring, try infusing it with slices of cucumber, lemon, or mint for a refreshing twist. Now you might be wondering, okay, I'm moving more, eating better, and staying hydrated, but what about those days when I just don't feel motivated? We all have them. Life gets busy, routines get disrupted, and sometimes it feels easier to skip that walk or reach for junk food instead of a healthy snack. The truth is, motivation ebbs and flows, and that's completely normal. What separates those who succeed from those who don't isn't willpower, it's consistency. Building habits takes time, and it's okay to start small. Maybe today, all you do is take 5 extra steps. Tomorrow, you'll take 10. Before you know it, those tiny efforts snowball into real progress. Here's another tip. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Finished a puzzle? Great job. Walked around the block without stopping? That's worth celebrating. Positive reinforcement helps build momentum and keeps you going. I remember reading about a study from Stanford University that showed people who acknowledged their achievements were more likely to stick with their goals long term. So give yourself credit where it's due. You deserve it. Now that we've covered movement, brain health, and nutrition, let's talk about something just as important: how staying socially engaged can impact your long-term well-being. Loneliness is more than just an emotional experience, it's a health risk. Studies have shown that prolonged loneliness can increase the risk of high blood pressure, depression, and even premature death. On the flip side, staying connected with others has been linked to better mental health, a stronger immune system, and even a longer lifespan. Think about it. Humans are wired for connection. Whether it's chatting with a neighbor, joining a club, or volunteering, social interactions remind us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. But how do you stay socially active when you live alone? It starts with finding activities that bring you joy and connect you with like-minded people. Maybe it's joining a book club, taking a class at your local community center, or simply inviting a friend over for coffee. Technology can also be a powerful tool. Video calls, online forums, and virtual events make it easier than ever to stay in touch, even if loved ones live far away. One woman I spoke with, Helen, joined an online knitting group during the pandemic. Not only did she learn new techniques, but she also formed friendships with women from all over the world. She said, "It gave me a reason to look forward to each week." So now that you know these powerful daily habits, let's move on to something even more important: how to stay motivated and overcome common aging challenges. Because while knowledge is powerful, putting it into practice is where the magic happens. Stick around, because we're about to dive into some strategies that will help you stay resilient, inspired, and ready to embrace every stage of life. Let's face it, staying motivated isn't always easy, especially when you're navigating the ups and downs of aging. Maybe you've had a bad day, or your joints are feeling stiff, or you're just plain tired. Those moments can make it tempting to throw in the towel and say, "I'll try again tomorrow." But here's the truth. Resilience isn't about never struggling. It's about finding ways to keep going, even when things feel tough. And guess what? You already have everything you need to build that resilience. One of the most powerful tools I've seen people use is setting small, achievable goals. Instead of aiming to walk 5 miles a day, start with 1 lap around the block. Instead of committing to cooking every meal from scratch, focus on making 1 healthy dish this week. These bite-sized wins give you something tangible to celebrate and help build momentum. I once met a man named Paul who didn't start strength training until he was 72. He began with just 5 minutes of chair exercises every morning. Within months, he progressed to using light weights and noticed more energy and less joint pain. He told me, "I feel 10 years younger." His secret? Taking it 1 step at a time and celebrating each milestone along the way. And speaking of steps, did you know that adding just 10 extra minutes of movement to your day can have a profound impact on your health? A study from Johns Hopkins University found that increasing daily activity, even by doing something as simple as gardening or tidying up, can contribute to a longer lifespan. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. So if you're having an off day, remind yourself that even a little effort counts. Put on your favorite music and dance for 2 minutes. Stretch while watching TV. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Every bit of movement adds up, and those small actions can create big changes over time. Now let's talk about mindset. Many people assume that aging means slowing down, but research suggests the opposite, that staying mentally engaged and socially connected can actually help us age better. Did you know that older adults who volunteer regularly report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction? Volunteering gives you a sense of purpose and connects you with others, which is crucial for emotional well-being. One woman I spoke with, Linda, started volunteering at her local library after retiring. She said it gave her a renewed sense of meaning and introduced her to a whole new community of friends. "It's like I've discovered a second act," she told me. Isn't that beautiful? But let's be honest, not every day feels like a second act. Some days you might wake up feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, or just plain stuck. When that happens, it's important to remember that you're not alone. Everyone faces challenges, no matter their age. The key is to reframe how you think about them. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, view them as opportunities to grow. For example, if arthritis makes it hard to knit, try switching to larger needles or exploring other crafts like painting or scrapbooking. If mobility issues make it difficult to get out, consider joining online groups or classes that bring people together virtually. Adaptability is one of the greatest strengths we develop as we age, and embracing it can open doors you never imagined. Another common challenge I hear about is managing pain or discomfort. Chronic conditions like arthritis, back pain, or neuropathy can make it hard to stay active or enjoy everyday activities. But here's the good news. There are strategies to help manage these issues. Gentle exercises like Tai Chi or swimming can be easier on the joints while still providing cardiovascular benefits. Heat therapy like warm baths or heating pads can soothe sore muscles. And don't underestimate the power of mindfulness techniques like deep breathing or meditation. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that mindfulness can reduce stress and improve pain tolerance. Even taking a few moments each day to focus on your breath can make a difference. Of course, sometimes the hardest part isn't physical, it's emotional. Loneliness and isolation are real struggles for many older adults, especially those living alone. But building connections doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. Call a friend or family member just to check in. Strike up a conversation with the cashier at the grocery store. Join a group that aligns with your interests, whether it's a walking club, a book discussion, or a faith-based organization. Social media can also be a lifeline if used thoughtfully. Follow pages or join groups that inspire you, share your thoughts, or simply scroll through posts that make you smile. Connection comes in many forms, and every interaction matters. Let me leave you with one last piece of motivation. Aging doesn't mean losing your health. It means taking charge of it in a smarter way. You have the power to shape your future, one choice at a time. Whether it's deciding to take that first step toward exercise, experimenting with healthier recipes, or reaching out to someone you care about, these actions ripple outward and create positive change. Remember George, the man who took up painting in his 60s? He didn't do it because he wanted to become an artist. He did it because he wanted to challenge himself and stay curious about the world. That curiosity kept him engaged and excited about life, and it can do the same for you. So now that you have all these tools, physical activity, nutrition, social connection, and a resilient mindset, let's wrap things up with some final words of motivation and a simple challenge you can start today. Because knowledge is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you put it into practice. Stick around because I'm about to share my favorite tip yet, and it's something anyone can do, no matter where they are in their journey. Here's the thing about aging. It's not just a number or a phase of life. It's an opportunity to redefine what living well means to you. Whether you're savoring quiet moments alone, rediscovering old passions, or exploring new ones, every day is a chance to write your story in a way that feels authentic and fulfilling. And as we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with one final thought. Small daily habits can make a world of difference. They might seem insignificant at first, taking a short walk, swapping white bread for whole grain, calling a friend, but over time, they add up to something truly transformative. Let me share a quick example. A few years ago, I met a man named Walter who decided to start each morning by writing down 3 things he was grateful for. At first, he thought it sounded silly. How could jotting down a few words change anything? But after a month, he noticed something remarkable. He started waking up with a lighter heart, looking forward to the day ahead instead of dreading it. That simple gratitude practice shifted his perspective and reminded him of all the good still present in his life. It didn't erase his challenges, but it gave him the strength to face them head-on. Now, isn't that worth trying? Speaking of practices, let's talk about one last tip that ties everything together: purpose. Studies show that having a sense of purpose, a reason to get out of bed each day, is linked to better physical health, improved mental clarity, and even a longer lifespan. Experts like Dr. Michael Greger, author of How Not to Die, emphasize that diet and lifestyle choices play a huge role in reducing the risk of chronic diseases, but they're only part of the equation. Emotional well-being matters just as much. So ask yourself, what lights you up? Is it spending time with grandchildren, learning a new skill, volunteering, or simply enjoying nature? Whatever it is, lean into it. Make it a priority. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just has to matter to you. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that's easier said than done. And you're right, it does take effort. But here's the secret. You don't have to figure it all out at once. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Maybe today, your goal is to sit outside for 5 minutes and soak in the sunshine. Tomorrow, it could be trying a new recipe or signing up for a class. Progress isn't linear, and that's okay. What matters most is that you keep moving forward, however slowly, toward a version of yourself that feels vibrant and alive. Before we close, I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier: connection. Humans thrive on relationships, and staying socially engaged is one of the best things you can do for your health. Research from Harvard University highlights that strong social ties can lower the risk of depression, boost immunity, and even increase longevity. So if there's one takeaway I hope you remember, it's this: don't underestimate the power of reaching out. Send a text, pick up the phone, or invite someone over for tea. Those connections aren't just nice to have, they're essential. Alright, now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments, which of these habits are you going to try first? Are you ready to take that extra walk, experiment with healthier meals, or call an old friend? Sharing your intentions not only holds you accountable, but also inspires others to join you on this journey. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips on healthy aging. Trust me, there's so much more we can explore together. Finally, I want to end with a message that I truly believe. Aging is not the end of adventure. It's the beginning of a new chapter. It's a time to reflect, grow, and embrace the beauty of living fully, no matter your age. You've spent decades building wisdom, resilience, and strength, and now it's time to put those gifts to work. So here's to you, to your health, your happiness, and your ability to create a life that feels rich and meaningful. Here's to living your best life at any age. Thank you for joining me today. You're amazing, and I'm so glad we got to spend this time together. Until next time, take care, and remember, every small step counts.